Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about how I matched my top residency choice and how you can apply that same thought to opening your own practice and expanding your own entrepreneurial endeavors. All right, for those of you guys who don't know, my name is Brad. I opened my own private practice. I'm a primary care doc, internal medicine. I have 3 locations. We did about $4 million in revenue last year, and we just continue to expand. We're on the way to open another location in the coming months. A little bit of a different video. I'm going way back in honor of Match Week at the time of me making this video to talk about how the hell did I even match my top match choice, and how do I keep rolling that in to my own business going forward, or that mindset going forward? A little bit of background about me. I am the only one in medicine in my family. Everyone else is an entrepreneur, owns their own business. My dad was a welder, he owns his own welding shop. My grandfather was a plumber, owned his own plumbing and HVAC company. When I applied to med school, it was a big learning curve. I mean, the biggest, hardest part is just getting into med school. And you're watching this because you're probably already in med school or graduated and beyond. But the big thing for me was residency. I only applied to one location in Texas besides my home institution. So I went to med school at San Antonio. And I only applied to Baylor in Houston. And then outside of that, I applied to California and New York and New Jersey schools because my significant other is from the Northeast. For some reason, I stuck in my mind that I wanted to leave Texas. But if I stayed in Texas, I thought Houston would be great. I have family there, my brother's there, my parents live nearby, and it'd be kind of cool to stay in the Houston area. Well, I was a little bit annoyed in that coming through to the residency application cycle, I got interviews from all the schools that I wanted to interview at, except Baylor didn't throw me an interview. So I just randomly emailed them one day saying, hey, I think I'd be a great fit. I have family there. I would love to interview. And literally 2 days later, I got an email that said, hey, we saw your email. We actually would like to invite you to interview with us. When I interviewed with them, the trick to the interview I felt like was very politician-like. What I mean by that is that this is the way that I always do any of the interviews that I'm always in when I really, really want something, and I'll share that secret with you guys, is that just like a politician says, you need to skew this interview in whatever direction you want to head forward. A lot of people think they're not in control of that conversation, and they think that the person doing the interviewing is in control of the conversation, when I feel like it's the exact opposite. I feel like the person who is interviewing for the position can very much be in control of that conversation. All right, so what do I mean by that? Let's take the simple question. Well, tell me about yourself. Where do I want that conversation to go? Let's say I did some primary care work and I volunteered and created a project in Africa that I want to highlight. You gotta, like a politician, you gotta twist the story to get to where you want to go. Oh, my name's Brad, born and raised in Texas. I love primary care. A primary care doctor took me under his wing. And while I was in med school, actually, I grew a lot as an individual. I did a project where I went to Africa, created this clean water project that's self-sustainable, and blah, blah, blah. Usually that's gonna lead then to the person doing the interview being like, wow, tell me more about that. All right, so then if next thing I wanted to talk about was somehow going to school in New York City, then I would just be like, oh, primary care is always passionate for me, blah, 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 say something very passionate about primary care, very heartfelt. And then I'd say, and also my family's in the Northeast. I love it here. They live 10 miles away. I think I'd be a great fit. I know the cooler weather. I know the personalities. I just feel like I'd be a great fit in this area. If you notice, when politicians do interviews, they always skew the last part of that conversation to whatever the hell they want to talk about. And where am I going with business with this? In business, you need to think about that as well. When you're talking to someone, you need to have a long-term goal of where are you going with this. Look, I don't have all day to shoot the shit with a whole bunch of people. And when I see a lot of reps that come through for me, I'll be cordial with them. But in the back of my mind, part of me is like, where's this going? What is in this for me? And if there's nothing in it for me, then I'm just gonna get in and get out because my day's busy and I wanna go home to my family. The same thing could be said for my business today. I started with one location, and in the back of my mind, I knew I didn't want to do concierge medicine or DPC. Cool, nothing wrong with that. You could be very successful doing that, but that's not the route I wanted to go. So, okay, what's my end goal? I want to make money while I'm on vacation. How am I gonna get there? All right, I gotta scale. And to scale, I've gotta create better policies so that while I'm not there and I hire another physician, maybe a PA or an NP, that they continue the way that I've trained them to continue the model of healthcare that I want to portray for my organization. Because look, we've all been through residency, or many of us who are watching have been through residency. There are many ways to get to the same end goal. And I feel like the way that you can train your staff to have your own systems in place, that's the way to get to the end goal. So just like I thought about that interview of steering the interview in whatever direction I wanted to go, I even think about my own business in that. Okay, I want to get to another location and another location. And where's the long-term play with that? Cool, once we hit 5,000 Medicare lives, we're gonna probably start up our own ACO because you have to hit 5,000 lives before you get your own ACO. And right now, being a part of another ACO is basically leaving a lot of money on the table. Yes, they take the headache of making the ACO off my plate, but you're gonna get paid maybe $140 per patient life. Meanwhile, Medicare is paying them $300 to $350 per year per patient life. The ACO that is basically being the middleman is taking at least 50% for the finder's fee. Now, can I get there today? No, I don't have 5,000 Medicare lives to create my own ACO. But again, I'm steering the conversation. I'm steering my business goals in the way that I want things to go forward. So what does this mean for you guys? You need to know, what is your own long-term goal? Is it being the best concierge physician in town and getting paid $50,000 a year per client? Cool. If that's the case, how are you going to get there? First, you need to build a reputation. That reputation comes with online presence, website, word of mouth reputations. You got to be a local expert, or at least portray a local expert online. Much like answering those questions in the residency interview, med school interview, or answering questions on a multiple choice test, you got to work it backwards. You got to say, okay, this is my end goal. How the hell am I going to get there? You want to be the best nephrologist in town. Cool. Where are most of your clients coming from? Are they coming from one hospital organization? Are there multiple hospital organizations? Where is the juice worth the squeeze? If 80% of your clients are coming from hospital X, you work on that one first. You don't work on hospital Y that's only going to get you 10% of your patients. You only have limited time, limited bandwidth. And you are telling the story of your entrepreneurial journey as you continue going forward. And that story can be whatever you want it to be. Now, it needs to include a lot of hard work, and it needs to be somewhat laser focused. It's okay going down some avenues here and there and trying things. But remember, you're in control of your own story. Just like if you're watching this and how I matched to my top choice residency, I feel like I was in control of the interview. I led those answers wherever I wanted them to go. The same thing with my business. I'm leading my business wherever I want it to go. I have long-term plans, create the own ACO. Then I want numerous locations, maybe even franchise this. There's so many directions forward that, just like my previous video, the overnight success, that was baked in years ago. That the policies and procedures that I set up 5 years ago helped me open up Clinic 2 and Clinic 3. And now to the point we have a playbook where I can easily just rubber stamp it and be like, yep, got another physician, put them in another location right there. I know how to turn the faucet on, get them more patients, and put butts in the chair to make them money and make me some money along the way. So you guys, there's nothing special about me. There's nothing special about any of the other entrepreneurs besides being available, doing hard work, and giving excellent customer service. You can do it, but think about the journey, go to the end point. Where do you want to be in 5, 10 years? If you don't hit that timeline, that's fine, but how can you get those steps along the way? It's okay to think about step 100, even if you're on step 3, but how can you get to there? How can you make each step along the way get you to your end point? And of course, with business, you have to adapt along the way, which is no problem. That's part of the fun of running a practice. So for those of you guys who are watching me that are in med school, appreciate y'all following along. That's how I matched at my top choice. Congratulations for everyone who matched. If you didn't match, look, my roommate in med school didn't match. Then he ended up scrambling into his actually amazingly desirable ER program that ended up not filling all their spots. You never know where life is gonna go. It's a road bump along the way of your success. All right, you guys, that's a little bit of a different video this time, but steer your boat in the direction of success of whatever the hell you want to define it for, and keep working day after day, grinding it in that direction. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for following along. See y'all next time.